Hey guys, welcome to yet another tutorial, and in this class we're going to be making this beautiful off-shoulder gown. So to make this gown, we're going to be working with the pattern from our last class. We already drafted our off-shoulder pattern, so we're going to be making use of this pattern to create this beautiful dress. So I have a little calculation here for the flare part of the gown, that's the skirt part. So I'm working with waist 29 and I have my radius to be 9.55. So to arrive at the radius, I divided my waist measurement by 3.14 and I added 1 inch seam allowance to arrive at the radius of 9.55. You use 3.14 if you want to draft a half circle flare. So my total skirt length now is going to be skirt length of 24 inches plus my radius of 9.55, which is going to give me 33.55 inches. So this is what I'll be using to draft the skirt part. So keep my pattern aside. I'm working with this fabric, this Ankara fabric, and it's 6 yards. So that's what we're going to be working with. Now, the rule of fabric management says that you cut your larger pattern first before you cut the smaller one. So we're going to be cutting the skirt pattern first. Now, to this skirt, we are going to be cutting two pieces. That's we're going to be drafting two half circle to give us a full circle, and it's going to be times 2 of my waistline so that we can create the gathers we have on the waist. So I have length of 45 inches and on my fold there I have it to be like 48 inches because of the dramatic nature of our flare, so that we can have enough fabric for that. So first we're going to start with the radius, and remember our radius is 9.5 inches. So that is what I'm already marking. Please note that this 9.5 inches is enough to go around my waist, but I want to have excess so that I can create the gathers on the waist. So that is why I'll be cutting two pieces for this skirt so that I can have times 2 of my waist measurement, and then I'm going to gather it back to my waist size. So here now I'm measuring 25 inches, which is going to be the length of the skirt, that is how short the shorter part of the skirt, where you want that one to be, how long or how short you want the shorter part of the skirt to be. And then after you mark this, then you can now determine how you want the longer sides, that's the dramatic side of the skirt, the dramatic length, how long you want it to be, that is the handkerchief side of it. So I have this already to be 25 inches, and I discovered my table will be small. It's not going to allow me to create that. So I'm going to move this skirt now to the floor. Okay, so this is it now. Now I'm going to create a straight line from the midpoint there, from the top edge, the midpoint there, straight to the other edge of the skirt. That's like I'm dividing the whole skirt now into 2 equal halves. Okay, just so that I can have that diagonal line there straight to the other edge of the skirt. Okay, so now that I have that, the next thing is I'm going to determine how long I want this to be. Now I decided to make mine long. Initially I wanted like 12 inches. I marked 10, then I marked 12. I was just trying to determine the one that will come out nicely. So I ended up marking 13, but I didn't even use the 13. I still exceeded and went a little below the 13 because I wanted it to have to be very pointy and not slanty. So you see, I just decided to do that so that I can have that line straight there and very pointy. So and then I'm connecting this other side now to the other edge. So because of how the nature of how I want my my pointy side to be, I decided to measure what I have on that straight line there, and then I divided it by 2 again. And I'll repeat the same thing for the other side of the line also. I'll measure it out and then divide it by 2. Now after this I came down also again by 5 inches there. I came down there by 5 inches and then I decided to connect it back to where I have that marking on the center of that straight line there. Okay, so now that we are done, the next thing now will be for us to just cut it out, and then we have our skirt ready. So I decided to add seam allowance to the waistline there. Alright, so I'm going to use this now to cut another pattern. Now this is the upper part, the bodice part, and I've added all the necessary seam allowance and I've cut them out, both the center front, center back and side back. Now I've cut out this pattern from the fabric which we're going to be placing on the little sleeve that we're going to be creating to connect our shoulders together. This patch was traced out from the Ankara fabric and I've interfaced it with hard paper stay. So we're going to be sewing them together and then attaching them to the sleeve. Next thing now will be for us to start our joining, and we're going to be joining the bodies together. And as usual, we're going to be doing fabric to fabric, lining to lining, both for the front and for the back pattern. So I'll just do that now for all my pattern, and then I'll come back so we can continue in this class. Alright guys, so I've joined all the pieces together. We have our front, both the main fabric and the lining. Next thing is for us to join our skirt pattern together. You know I told you we're going to be cutting 2 pieces. So I have the 2 here, and then we're going to join one side of it so that we can have a long fabric all together, so that the 2 pieces can become one piece. And then the waistline, we're going to be gathering it. I'm going to be running a loose stitch on the waistline, and then we're going to be using that loose stitch to pull the whole fabric together so that it can come back to my initial waistline circumference, which is 29 inches. So I'm going to be doing that now, and then I'll come back to show you. Alright guys, so I've run the stitch, I've sewn the two fabric together. Can you see that? That's the seam line, and then I've made a loose stitch on it, which I'm going to be showing you how. Can you see? So we'll just be pulling it like this now until we have our desired waistline circumference. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my basic bodice, and then we're going to be joining the side seam together. I'm working with bust circumference of 34 inches. So 34 divided by 2 is going to give me 17, and then I have seam allowance of 2 inches on both sides. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing for the waistline, and my waist is 29. 29 divided by 2 will give me 14.5, and I think I have 6 inches extra, which is 3 inches on both sides. So now I'm going to run that stitch down on both sides, fabric to fabric, lining to lining. So guys, I've done that. Can you see? And this is how it looks like. So now we're going to be joining it to the waistline. We're going to be joining the both waistline together like so. Now I have my lining for the skirt part, and we're going to be repeating the same thing also for the lining. We're going to be joining the skirt part to the bodice. So I'm going to be doing that now and come and show you. Alright guys, can you see? I've joined it together. Can you see how it looks now? And I've also repeated the same thing for my lining. So the next thing now will be for us to join our necklines. So we're going to be stitching down the front neckline, and we're going to be repeating the same thing for both sides of the back like so. So I'm going to do that now. Alright guys, so can you see I've gone ahead to stitch it, and we have that there. Next thing will be for us to knitting the armhole, since we're not joining a sleeve. Now we're going to have a strip of fabric there, which is going to connect both armhole together. So you want to either measure what you have on the dress like so, or you can just decide to measure your bicep on your hand so that you can be sure of the measurement. So we're going to be cutting a fabric to attach with what we have here. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut out two fabric, and it's 7 inches, because I'm going to be adding, because I have seam allowance added already. So I'll run stitch on that side that is open and then turn it over. Alright guys, can you see I've stitched it and given it a press. So, and it's also 2.5 inches wide. So the next thing will be for us to fix it in between the front armhole and the back armhole like so, and then stitch it down and use it to knitting, use the lining to knitting the armhole completely. So this is how you fix it. You just, the rough edges is what will go inside. I don't know how I'm going to explain this for you, but it's super easy. You just place the rough side in between the armhole and just stitch it out like so. So guys, I'm going to be stitching it now, and then I'll show you how the final look is. Alright guys, can you see? So this is what is expected of you. Can you see how neat it is? And can you see how neat the inside of our gown is? So the next thing now will be for me to close the back and then create zipper allowance, and then I'll fix the zip and come back to show you what we have. Alright guys, can you see our gown? Our gown is ready. Can you see it? I'll fix the zipper and the back. Everything is looking so neat. So what we have left now is for us to attach the Ankara patch that we cut out to the sleeve we created on the gown. So what you want to do is join your patches together like so. You run a stitch around the edges and then you trim out whatever excess you have there, and then you use your soldering iron to burn the edges so that it doesn't frill along the line. So I'll do that now, fix everything, and then I'll come and show you the final look of our gown. Now your patches will depend on the nature of fabric you are working with. So if you're not working with a fabric that is similar to mine, then you definitely cannot have the kind of patch that I have. So you want to work with whatever patch you have on your fabric, and then you determine best way you can place them and they'll come out beautiful. And then you're going to be tacking them down with needle and thread. Okay, so I'll do that now. Alright guys, can you see the final look of our gown? It's so beautiful. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I'll see you next time. Bye.